She didn't cry. She made a deal. The girl didn't beg. She didn't cry. She didn't even try to run. Instead, she stepped forward, right in front of them. "Wait," she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was enough. The men stopped, confused, annoyed. "What?" one of them snapped. The girl looked up at him, eyes steady, not scared, not shaking, just thinking. "I'll go with you," she said. Silence. The cowboy frowned instantly. "What are you doing?" he asked under his breath. The girl didn't look at him. "I'll go," she repeated, but on one condition. That word changed everything. Condition. The men exchanged looks. Amused now. "And what condition is that?" one of them asked. The girl pointed behind her, at the injured man. "You leave him," she said. The cowboy's eyes widened. "No," he started, but she cut him off. "You don't touch him," she added. Clear, firm, like she had already decided. The men laughed. A small girl, making demands. It sounded ridiculous, but something about her face stopped it from being funny. "And why would we agree to that?" the leader asked. The girl tilted her head slightly. "Because," she said quietly, "I know something you don't." Silence dropped. Heavy. The cowboy felt it instantly. That shift, that moment where things stopped being simple. "What do you mean?" the man asked. The girl didn't answer right away. She just looked at him. Then, a small step closer. "They're already watching you," she whispered. The man's smile faded. "What?" The girl didn't blink. "You think you're in control," she said softly, "but you're not." The wind moved through the street, slow, uneasy, and suddenly no one was laughing anymore. The street went quiet, too quiet. The men looked at each other, then back at the girl. "What are you talking about?" the leader asked. His voice wasn't mocking anymore. Not fully. The girl didn't rush, didn't panic. She just stood there, calm, like she had all the time in the world. "You shouldn't be here," she said, soft, almost like a warning. The cowboy glanced at her, confused, concerned. "Kid," he muttered, "this isn't a game." But the girl didn't react. Her eyes stayed locked on the leader. "You came too early," she added. A pause. "And now they know." The men shifted again. Uneasy now. "Who knows?" one of them snapped. The girl's gaze moved slowly, past them, toward the rooftops, toward the shadows. "They do," she said. The cowboy followed her eyes. Scanning. Nothing. Just empty buildings. Still air. Silence. But it didn't feel empty anymore. It felt watched. The leader stepped forward, irritated. "You're trying to scare us," he said. The girl shook her head slightly. "No," she replied. "I'm trying to help you." That made it worse. The man laughed once. Short, dry. "Help us," he said. "You're a child." The girl tilted her head. "And you're not paying attention," she said. Silence hit again. The cowboy felt it in his chest. That strange tension, like something unseen had shifted. "Tell me what you know," the leader demanded. The girl hesitated, just for a second, then stepped closer, lowering her voice. "If you take him," she whispered, "you won't make it out of this town." No one spoke. Not even the wind moved. Because somehow, she didn't sound like she was guessing. She sounded certain. The leader stared at her, trying to read her, trying to understand. But something about her didn't make sense. Not the words, not the calm, not the way she wasn't afraid. And that's what made it dangerous. The leader's smile was gone now, completely. He studied the girl carefully. "You talk too much for someone in your position," he said. The girl didn't react, didn't step back, didn't even blink. "You still don't understand," she replied. The cowboy shifted slightly, closer to her, protective. "What is she talking about?" one of the men muttered. No one answered, because no one knew. The girl slowly raised her hand again, but this time she didn't point at the man on the ground. She pointed at the cowboy. Silence snapped. The cowboy frowned. "Me," he said. The girl nodded. "They're not looking at him," she said quietly. "They're looking at you." The words hit hard. The men turned, confused. "What?" the leader said. The girl stepped back slightly, standing beside the cowboy now. "They don't care about him anymore," she continued. A pause. "They came for you." The cowboy's jaw tightened. "That doesn't make any sense," he said. The girl finally looked up at him. Really looked. "You were at the canyon road yesterday," she said. Not a question. A fact. The cowboy froze. Just for a second. But it was enough. The men noticed. "Wait," one of them said slowly. "You know this man?" The girl didn't answer, but she didn't need to. The leader's eyes narrowed. "What did you do?" he asked the cowboy. The cowboy didn't respond. His silence said everything. The girl spoke again. "They lost something," she said, soft, deadly, "and they think he took it." The tension shifted instantly. Now the danger wasn't random. It was personal. The leader took a step forward, slow, focused. "Well," he said quietly, "that changes things." The cowboy moved slightly in front of the girl, hand near his gun, because now he understood. This wasn't about the man on the ground anymore, and it definitely wasn't about the girl. It was about him. The air changed, fast. What started as control turned into something else, something sharper, more dangerous. The leader stepped forward, eyes locked on the cowboy. "Is it true?" he asked. The cowboy didn't answer, didn't need to. His silence said enough. The men shifted around them, no longer focused on the injured man, no longer on the girl, only on him. "Looks like we found what we came for," one of them said. The girl stayed close, but she didn't panic, not even now, because she had already seen this coming. "What did you take?" the leader asked. The cowboy finally spoke. "Something that wasn't yours," he said calmly. That answer didn't help. It made it worse. The leader smirked. "You don't get to decide that," he replied. A pause. "Now step aside." The cowboy didn't move. No. Simple. Final. The leader's hand slowly dropped toward his gun. The others followed, one by one. The street held its breath. The girl looked up at the cowboy. "This is the part where it goes wrong," she whispered. The cowboy didn't look at her, but he heard her, loud and clear. "Stay behind me," he said. The girl shook her head, slightly. "They're not afraid of you," she replied. A pause. "They're afraid of what you have." The leader's eyes sharpened. "Enough talking," he snapped. High voltage draw. Everything happened at once. Dust kicked up, hands moved, guns raised. And then, bang, a shot cracked through the street. But it didn't come from the cowboy or the riders. It came from somewhere else. High, hidden, a rooftop. Silence slammed down. Everyone froze, because suddenly this fight wasn't just theirs anymore. The shot echoed, then silence. Heavy, sharp. One of the men staggered back, gun slipping from his hand. "Sniper," someone shouted. Panic spread instantly. The calm was gone, replaced with chaos. The cowboy didn't move. He just looked at the girl. "You knew," he said. Not a question. The girl nodded. "They were watching before you came," she replied. Another shot cracked, closer this time. The men scattered, no longer in control, no longer confident. "Who are they?" the leader shouted. The girl stepped forward slightly. "They're the ones you should have been afraid of," she said. her voice still calm, still steady. Even now, the cowboy's eyes narrowed. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" he asked. The girl looked at him. "I did," she said quietly. A pause. "You just didn't listen." The words hit deep because they were true. The leader backed away now, fear finally showing. "This isn't over," he shouted, but his voice lacked power. Another shot rang out. Dust kicked up near his feet. A warning. Clear. Final. He didn't wait again. "Move!" he barked. The men jumped onto their horses, riding out fast, desperate, gone within seconds. And just like that, the danger disappeared. The street fell silent again. The cowboy exhaled slowly, then looked down at the girl. "Who are you?" he asked. The girl didn't smile, didn't explain. She just said, "I made a deal." The dust settled slowly. Silence returned, but it didn't feel the same anymore. The cowboy kept his eyes on the girl. "You made a deal with who?" he asked. The girl looked toward the rooftops, where the shots had come from, then back at him. "With the people you helped yesterday," she said. The cowboy frowned. "The ones from the canyon?" he asked. The girl nodded. "They were being watched too," she replied. "They knew those men would come back." A pause. They just didn't know when. The cowboy's expression hardened. "So you warned them?" The girl shook her head. "No," she said softly. "I gave them something." Silence. The cowboy stepped closer. "What did you give them?" The girl looked at him. Calm, honest. "Time," she answered. A pause. "I told them when the riders would be here." The cowboy's eyes widened slightly. "You planned this?" he asked. The girl didn't deny it. "They were going to take him anyway," she said, glancing at the injured man. "And maybe you too." A breath. "So I changed it." The wind moved gently through the street. For the first time, it felt peaceful. The cowboy looked at her differently now, not as a child, but as someone who understood things, far beyond her age. "You're not scared of any of this?" he asked. The girl shook her head. "I was," she said, "before I realized something." "What?" the cowboy asked. The girl's voice softened. "That sometimes you don't wait to be saved." A small pause. "You make your own way out." The cowboy nodded slowly, respect in his eyes now. Real, earned. Behind them, the injured man breathed easier, alive, safe. And the girl, she finally stepped back, not because she was afraid, but because she didn't need to stand alone anymore. Sometimes the strongest move is the one no one sees coming. Flushed face fire.